with the attack on Pearl Harbor, the loyalty and the patriotism of Japanese Americans was called into question.
Hundreds of thousands of people were forced to sell their homes or leave their homes and businesses within a very short period of time, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and be relocated to a place where they were in camps, they were in prison, essentially.
Executive Order 9066 happened in February, stating that evacuation will occur. We had about a week's notice to pack up what you could carry and report to the assembly center. There was a list of things you could not take, radios and things you were not allowed to take. I left my favorite dolls, my favorite books, my piano was left. So in my suitcase, I had an autographed book from my friends and my clothes, and that was about it.
I was put into an internment camp only because I had Japanese blood. I had done nothing wrong. And we were assigned to a horse stall with another family, family of 3. Ours was a family of 5. And we filled a mattress cover with hay, and that was our mattress.
And all they did to the horse stalls was wash them out, whitewash them, and the odor was still there.
My first night, I can still remember laying in my bed, trying to sleep, wondering what happened here. I'm an American citizen. What did I do wrong, you know? It was the lowest point. That first night was the lowest point in my life, I would say.
I had very little communication with my members of my family who were in the camps, very little. I just about knew where they were eventually. I had 2 older brothers. One older brother was incarcerated in the Rower camp in Arkansas, behind barbed wire. Second older brother was incarcerated in the Manzanar camp in Eastern California. And my mother and the younger members of the family were put into the Poston camp in the middle of the Arizona desert, near Parker, Arizona. So my family was in 3 different camps behind barbed wire.
One of my uncles, his family was sent to Manzanar. And to get to Manzanar, you have to go across the California desert. And they were being shipped by train. And the shades were pulled down, and the speculation, the rampant speculation on the train, he said that everybody was afraid that what was going to happen to them was they were going to stop the train in the middle of the desert. They were going to be taken in the middle of the desert and shot, just like they were doing to the Jews in Germany.
I think there were many Americans who would rise up in protest were the government to suggest something like that today, whereas almost no one rose up in protest against that during World War II.
I think the reason why there wasn't an uprising or anything when they said we were going to camp is because we were brought up not only in the American way, but we were brought up by parents who had come from Japan, and we were always taught that the authority was right. And you shouldn't do anything to disgrace your family. If your father said, don't rebel. And if you did, then you're a disgrace to your family name. And that was very important to us. We felt, is this the way we have to live in this one room? And you had to walk to the latrine. You had no privacy. If we said we didn't like being cooped up in this camp behind barbed wires, they would say to us, "Shikata ga nai," this is where the government put us. And so we have to make the best of it. None of us revolted. We were carrying on life as if we were on the outside.
There were basically 2 thoughts that were formed. One thought was, well, my constitutional rights were abridged. I'm here against my will. There was no due process, no trial, and why should I fight for this country? And the thought was, when my rights are restored, I will fight for this country. There was another group that felt, yes, my rights were abridged. Yes, I'm here against my will, but this is still my country, and I'm still an American. I'm proud to be an American, and I'm willing to serve.
When I first put on that uniform of a private of U.S. Army, it was a tremendous change that came over me. I felt whole again. They took away my civil rights. They put me in a concentration camp only because of racial prejudice. And yet, I never lost faith in America.
And then the government questioned us about our loyalty, and they decided that the camp in Tule Lake would be the camp that all the dissidents and anyone who made any kind of problems in camp would be taken.
My parents were sent to Tule Lake, and when I went to Tule Lake, I was taken aback to see rows and rows of tar-papered barracks behind barbed wire. And when I looked up, I saw a soldier wearing the same uniform as mine, with a machine gun.
When I finished my basic training, we were all given passes. So from Illinois, I went to Arizona to visit my mother in this camp, this posting camp. Huge camp. It was not a happy visit, but at least I got to see my mother and a couple of the younger members of my family. And then that's when it really struck me as to what the evacuation meant. Here are these thousands of people in these barracks in the middle of the Arizona desert, guarded by watchtowers with armed guards, barbed wire around the camps. It was very depressing.
I saw my parents and siblings, and we greeted each other with a smile, but inside we were crying because it was quite devastating to see my parents and siblings removed from their comfortable home, deprived of their rights, deprived of their dignity.
In total, I was there for 3.5 years, almost. I didn't leave until 1945. You have no control what the government tells you to do. You just go along, and you make the most of your life. You don't dwell on it. You don't dwell that you're behind bars. You've lost all your freedom. You make the most of what you have. So if you want to go to college, you study like you're going to college, although you don't know when the camp is going to close, or if you would ever get home to California. And this is, I think, one of the things that kept most people going, is that they can't defeat you.
When I left the camp and I walked out of the camp as a free man, I looked back and I said to myself, I'm in an American uniform and I see my siblings behind barbed wire. I was angered. I was confused because as a child, I recall that every morning I used to get up, stand at attention, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That pledge that ended with liberty and justice for all. And here I found my siblings behind barbed wire. Their only crime is that they look like the enemy.